Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. I appreciate you being on our channel. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. Now I'm going to give you some information about the state of the challenges to the election. And I also want to acknowledge that many supporters of President Trump believe that the election was, I quote, taken away from them. In fact, I'm going to give you some data and I'll let you be the judge. Remember, I'm a messenger, I'm a citizen journalist, I'm a nerd, so don't blame the messenger, but I'm going to give you some data because I want our country to be aware about what's going on. I think there's one thing that we can all agree on is that we are a deeply divided country right now. It is unfortunate that we are divided because we can achieve so much more when we come together. Where things stand right now, and you'll see the Georgia Secretary of State, who basically said that, look, the election is the electoral votes in the state of Georgia are going to be given to Biden. And the Georgia governor actually chimed in today and said he would not be interfering in the election and trying to overturn anything that the Georgia Secretary of State did. The president has been pushing for something to happen, but the legal challenges that have been mounted by the campaign, essentially I've been talking about the results of those legal challenges on our channel. But what was interesting is that this was reported by Fox News today that 79% of the president's supporters believe that the election was, I quote, taken away from them. Let's take a look at this segment and you can be the judge for yourself.
Fantastic claims, half-truths, misinformation, and frankly, they are misleading the president as well, apparently.
The president also claiming that the FBI and the DOJ are missing in action when it comes to all of these voting irregularities. Here's what he said yesterday.
I ask, are they looking at it? Everyone says yes, they're looking at it. You would think if you're in the FBI or Department of Justice, this is the biggest thing you could be looking at. Where are they? I've not seen anything. I mean, they just keep moving along and they go on to the next president.
A poll that was out last week found 79% of the president's supporters believe that the election was taken away from him. So among that group of people, at least, the president seems to be successfully making a case that he would have won had it not been for what he calls massive voting irregularity. The president tweeting about that this morning saying, quote, "I'm not fighting for me. I'm fighting for the 74 million people, not including the many Trump ballots that were tossed, a record for a sitting president who voted for me." You can make an argument over whether or not, Harris, there were enough voting irregularities to turn over the election. Certainly, we have seen some voting irregularities, particularly in Georgia, where several thousand votes were counted. That wasn't enough to turn over Georgia, but the president's most ardent supporters believe he would have won had it not been taken from him.
Now, in the second segment, Tom Dupree, who's the former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, he was actually interviewed on Fox News, and there's something super interesting that the president says at the start of this clip. This is from the President of the United States. The president said maybe the FBI and the Department of Justice are involved in the election fraud allegation. The President of the United States said maybe the FBI and the Department of Justice are involved. So actually what Tom Dupree was asked to comment on this, and he said it's possible that the Justice Department is looking but is yet to find evidence of election fraud. Let's roll the tape and you can see what Dupree said on your own. You can see that on Fox. Let's take a look.
This is total fraud. And how the FBI and Department of Justice, I don't know, maybe they're involved, but how people are allowed to get away from this stuff with this stuff is unbelievable.
I want to bring in now Tom Dupree, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General. I'll hit you with the DOJ first, and then I want to talk to you about what's happening in Arizona. First of all, the DOJ. Do you anticipate a larger look at voter fraud from the Department of Justice, and how will we know what kind of the tipping point is to get them involved?
Right. I think the tipping point, Harris, is the standard that the Attorney General set forth a few days after the election when he authorized all federal prosecutors, all United States attorneys throughout the country to investigate credible instances of voter fraud that would be sufficient to change the outcome in a state. The president is right that after the Attorney General made that announcement, we haven't really heard a lot from the Justice Department. But it seems to me one conclusion you could draw is that the Justice Department investigators are looking for this evidence, but they just have yet to find it.
That was interesting. Also, in a sign that our country is deeply divided, like I mentioned earlier, 88% of the individuals who voted for President Trump earlier this month believe that Biden did not legitimately win the election, compared to just 2% of Biden voters. So again, 88% of people who voted for President Trump earlier this month believe that Biden did not legitimately win the election, according to a poll that was conducted by The Economist and YouGov. Just Interesting data right there. Many of President Trump's supporters echoed some of the claims from the president. 79% think that there was a lot of voter fraud this year. Keep in mind that many state election officials have said that there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud enough to overturn the results of the election. But 79% of President Trump's supporters believe there was a lot of voter fraud this year. And look, this is tens of millions of our fellow Americans, right? So I want our viewers and subscribers to understand what people believe. 64% believe that mail-in ballots were definitely manipulated to favor Biden, and and 48% say that undocumented immigrants voted in 2016 and tried to do so again this year. So this is what President Trump's supporters believe about the allegations about what's been happening with voter fraud. I want our viewers and subscribers to understand that President Trump has refused to concede defeat to Biden, and this is a decision that has been backed by 79% of President Trump's voters. So 79% of President Trump's voters are supporting President Trump, not conceding to Biden, and three quarters, of President Trump voters say the president should continue to essentially challenge the results of the election. That is where they stand now. A small number of voters on both sides, okay? A small number of voters on both sides, I'm talking 50% of Biden supporters and 51% of Trump supporters believe a peaceful transfer of power is likely in January. So I thought that was very interesting as well. And these were the results of a poll that was conducted in the past week. Several polls actually. You'll find a link to all of our resources in the description section below. So definitely check out all of our resources also. And here's another big number. The percentage of President Trump's voters who have little to no confidence that the election was held fairly. The percentage of President Trump's voters who have little to no confidence that the election was conducted fairly. You ready for that number? 80%. 80%. That is the percentage of Trump voters who have little to no confidence that the election was held fairly. The percentage of Biden voters who believe who have little to no confidence that the election was held fairly is at 1%. Just incredible. And finally, let's talk about Trump 2024. Most Republican voters want to see President Trump run for president again. Yep, most Republican voters want to see President Trump run for re-election in 2024. According to a new survey from 7 Letter Insight, we'll provide you with the link to all of our resources again in the description. 2/3, which means 66% of Republican voters said they would support President Trump running for re-election again in 4 years. Again, this is according to the survey from 7 Letter Insight. And 1,500 people actually participated in this survey between the 10th and the 19th of November. 67% of Republican voters said that they support President Trump peacefully transitioning power to the Biden administration, but they also want to see President Trump back in the White House in 2025. Yep, that's what the voters said. And another poll conducted by Politico and Morning Consult, which consists of almost 2,000 registered voters that essentially participated between November 21st and November 23rd. 53% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents for Trump supported the notion of the president running for re-election in 2024. So that is where things stand, everybody. Let me know what you think of this information. I've also done a poll on our channel. Yep, on our channel. If you go to the community section, I did a poll asking quite simply, do you believe President Trump won the election? We had thousands of participants in the poll, and the last time I checked, 39% of our viewers and subscribers believed that President Trump won the election, and 61% believed that President-elect Biden won the election. What this tells us is that as a nation, we are deeply divided. I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Again, you'll find the links to all of our resources in the description section below. What an incredible day. What an incredible news cycle. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. If you learn something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please share this video with friends and family. Please ignite that subscribe button and ignite that notification button, because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time. Get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000, and then you'll get added to SMS alerts list going forward. If you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you can get added to our email list. You can opt out of the SMS list or the email list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So please make sure to follow us on Instagram. You can also, if you want, follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Follow us on Twitter to get breaking news and alerts from us on Twitter. Now, sometimes YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. That happens with technology. We're living in an age of technology. All you have to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you can visit the homepage of our channel and watch our videos at any point in time that you want. I think you'll find that extremely beneficial. As always, if you learn something new from this video, please consider sharing this video with friends and family so that we can help grow our community. Also, keep in mind that you can always comment below and participate in our growing community. Our community is growing. We are bipartisan, we are respectful, we are intelligent, and you'll make some new friends in our community. Keep in mind, for us in our community, it's not about the red or the blue, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm American. So for us, it's about putting the country first and not really getting into arguments about whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump, pro-Biden or anti-Biden. Keep in mind that on this channel, I'll report the truth. I'll report the truth as it emerges. And, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not pro-Biden. I'm not anti-Biden. I will report the news as it comes out. And so that is what you're going to get on this channel. You're not going to get any false hope. You're not going to get any hype. You're not going to get some clickbait like, stimulus check approved when there's nothing approved. And this channel is more than a stimulus channel. This channel is about matters that are important to the economy and matters that are important to your money. So again, this channel is about country, economy, and money. Once again, if you learned something new from this video, please consider sharing this video with friends and family. You will always find a link to all of our resources in the description section below. So definitely check out our description section. One last time, please click the like button, please subscribe, please enable notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.